Yeah. दो लोग. Yeah, very good morning, everyone. So, before we start the session, let me set certain ground rule. All the participant would be kept on a mute mode throughout the session. If you have any questions, what you can do is you can write it on the chat box. I have been shadowed with my colleague Anirudh, Vivek, and Sayan in the session. So, if there are questions, we'll take it up. If you have any question throughout the session, what you can do is you can write it on the chat box and we'll take it at the end of the session. Uh, Please be informed the session is getting recorded for the reference of all the registrants who has not joined and for reviewing for you guys also if you wanted to see the sessions again. Uh, this session has been made successful because of our partner Tally Global Software. They are one-stop solution for Tally related any requirement, new license to customization, anything, any support. Uh, they have a global presence: India, UAE, Tanzania, Angola, with the team of 100 plus, where they give uh, end-to-end solution for Tally related product. So today's session is a very very important topic where everyone is asking about what is e-invoicing and what would happen as a Tally customer, what are the timeline. So just assurance and assurity on that. What I'll do is I'll be as I hope everyone is able to see my screen. I've got a couple of slides and then I'll dive into the product, what you have to do, do's and don'ts, and what are the latest release of product, what Tally has been doing till now. So all those things we'll be talking in today's session. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into the session. So the topic for today's session, a walk through e-invoicing. E-invoicing, if you see VAT as on today, it has developed. It started from 2018 till 2026. It's almost touching a decade now. The law is getting matured. There are a lot of new things getting cascaded. We got a corporate tax, then AML, then it later we got corporate tax, we got RCM on electronics good. If you see in entire GCC region, there are a lot of new things happening. A lot of uh, in the GCC region, Qatar is also announcing, and a lot of countries are announcing that Saudi, they have come up with e-invoicing. Now, what happens? What is happening in UAE? We'll talk about the law, and we will give you what is happening from a Tally side. So Tally, just give me a minute. Yeah. So we love building a technology to help entrepreneurs run their business better. Now, a story about Tally. Tally started in 1986. The foundation of product was very simple. It started as an accounting software. In 1990s, we started expansion throughout the India. Post that, the product also got developed. So it was initially just an accounting software. In 1990s, it started moving towards an SME business management software. In 2000, we established a global footprint in UAE and GCC market. And as on today, we have million plus customers. So we carry the legacy of 40 years of empowering business in the region. Tally being a software with a legacy of 40 years, a lot of people still they say it's an accounting software. It's not an accounting software. It's a complete business management software. You can do any and everything. You buy a Tally for accounting purpose. The moment your business grows, you don't need to go here and there. Everything is there in the same product. You don't need to pay a single penny. The over and above the product, say for example, we have you have inventory, accounting, then we have order processing, anything you want. As your business goes increasing, you don't need to upgrade the product. The product has all the availability in that. Now, our guidelines principle, it's flexible, adopt your evolving business operation and global growth. Speed, enable quicker decision, effective task, and enhance the productivity. Simplicity, it's simple. Whoever touch the software, it's very simple and it's very reliable. It gives you accurate and stable report. If you see any charter accountants, SEC, CPA, CMA, any any accounting professional, they vouch for Tally. because the Tally as a software, it's a very simple, ready, simple to use software, and which can be used by any and everyone. Now, this is about Tally impact across the world. We have a presence of 40 years, which is called 4 decades. 2.7 million business has been empowered. So we talk about 2.7 million businesses, not the user, not the customer. When it comes to 2.5 million users, the businesses, the customers is more than it's 15 times, users is 10 times, because if you take one multi-user, n number of users can use. 75k plus customers, 75k plus customer has are there in GCC. So the users is, you can just and multiple 15 times are the users, and multiplied by 10 times are the companies who are using. 200 plus certified partners with a stronger network in UAE. We have got 200 plus certified partner, and among that top gold partners, Tally Global is one of them, and they've been serving SMEs since a decade now in UAE. Now let's talk about the why businesses love Tally. It's a global business, because you need multi-currency, multi-dimensional view, group company, local VAT and e-filing, what is there in the current product. Now let's talk about e-invoicing. Now, let's not talk anything, because I am sure you guys are using Tally. Uh, I'm sure you guys are using and taking maximum advantage about the product. So let's talk about uh, what is e-invoicing, what all things we have in the product, uh, and what all things are going to happen in the e-invoicing. Just to give you a quick assurance, this slide says everything. India's leading e-invoicing solution now getting ready for UAE. Now, what is UAE? What is coming in UAE? What is e-invoicing? What are the mandate? What has come on, which was released by authority on 29th of September 2025. So, scope of obligation. I'll make it very simple. I've just taken it from the FTA website and just made it simple to understand. So, the application is the system applies to all person conducting business in UAE for B2B and B2G. If you are doing a transaction which is B2B and B2G, you need the e-invoicing mandate comes for you. Now, required both for issuer and receptor. So if you are receiving an invoice from B2B, it's so now the law is still developing. If you're issuing an invoice, yeah, you have to B2B invoice, you have to get into, you have to start e-invoicing. If you are receiving an invoice, if you're not, I'll talk about that. If you're receiving an invoice also, you need to appoint an ASP and issue and get an e-invoicing. Now, just 2 minutes. Okay. Now, issue. So what happens once if you are issuer or receptor, appoint an accredited service provider, which is ASP, where they will validate. The service provider validates, corrects if all the information what authority wants, is it available? Yes or no. If it is available, only then it gets uploaded to the tax authority. Issue and transmit an electronic invoice for every business transaction. So henceforth, after that timeline comes in, I'll talk about the timeline. Any business transaction, you issue and transmit an electronic invoice for every business B2B or B2G transaction. Issue an electronic credit note for cancellation, reduction, consideration, refund, or administrative or numerical errors. Ensure all electronic invoice and document obtain the required data file. Now, standard is new system based on international PayPal standard, which ensures the interoperability facility cross-border trade and enhance the security and data integrity. So now, what is the timeline? As everyone is talking about e-invoicing, there is a buzz. Let's talk. who will who has to do the registration as of now, and what are the timelines, and what government has given a timeline for invoicing. So going on the right side, if you see business category, so currently if you see, if you are a business, if you're so there is an ASP selection, business category, ASP selection, and then there is uh, system readiness. ASP selection is you have to tell authority that you are using this software for your business transaction, and system readiness, from that day onwards you will issue an invoicing. Now the phase one is, if your business, if you have a revenue of more than 50 million by July 2026, you have to select an ASP. Selection of ASP would be very simple. It on your MRR tax portal to select an ASP, or if you have any confusion, you can get in touch with Tally Global or your bookkeeper or accounting company. System readiness. So by January, so next year by January 2027, the system readiness has to be there. So from 1st January, the moment you issue an invoice, it should be an invoice. Phase 2, small and medium businesses. If your revenue is less than 50 million, 31st of March 2027 is the date for you. You have to select an ASP by 31st of March 2027. By 1st July, you will be you have to keep your system you have to keep your system ready. So any invoice you issue from 1st of July, it has to be it has to be an invoice for B2B and B2G transaction. So phase 3, all government entities in the scope. So if you're receiving a bill from Diva, if you're receiving a bill from any government companies, they will give you an invoice. So now connecting that to receiver, the requirement, both issuer and receiver. So after 31st of March, 31st of March, government entities will select an ASP. By 1st of October, they will issue an invoicing. So indirectly, everyone will be coming in that scope. The law is still developing. Now, what happens to you if you are into a larger scale? Be rest assured, Tally has submitted all the document. We are a PayPal certified software, the which is required to become an ASP, which is 90% of work is done. Document for becoming an ASP has been submitted. Very soon, the Tally name will also be there in the 9 registered ASP. The system readiness, we are working very closely with authority. The product is getting ready because we have given a solution in Saudi, and similar solution would be coming similar to that solution which is coming and which is getting ready. The testing and other things are going on. We are expecting the product to be out by quarter 2. So be rest assured, if you are into phase 3 too also, by 31st of March 2027, the product will be ready. You have to just select and enable it, take a help of a partner, and I'm sure and you're connected with the best partner who is one of our top partner, Tally Global. They'll help you with that implementation. So I hope I'm able to make it very clear that yeah, Tally is bringing up a release and we are doing a ASP registration. If you see a lot of different softwares and other companies, they are doing a connected service. There'll be a third party involved, where Tally is getting registered an ASP by themselves, and there's no other software as of now and Tally who has got a PayPal certification. And we have brought a latest. There was one release recently with which connects with the click of button. You can submit your VAT return values in MRR tax portal as well. So what is ASP? Now let's talk about what is ASP, role of an ASP. Then we'll talk about what is open PayPal standard. So then you understand what is going to happen when the invoicing comes in. So ASP is nothing but accredited service provider. They what they do is they act as a bridge between the seller and the tax authority and the buyer. So currently, if you do any transaction, so say you are doing a transaction, you are doing a sales, you are selling and somebody is buying. It's one. There are two people involved. But while doing a sales, what you do is take your supplier's TRN number, you take their exact company name. When you add a ledger in your system, you say it's in Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah. Is it an export, import, any transaction? You put all this record. Then the buyer gets an invoice. He'll post it as an purchase invoice, and it's done. But now what happens with the e-invoicing coming in? ASP will validate your invoice that if all the records are correct, all the details are correct. Say for example, company name is correct, VAT amount is correct, the TRN number is correct, and then once the date is correct, and the receiver, the buyer details are correct. Once that is done, it goes into a ASP portal. So now once you give an invoice to your seller, you once an invoice is given from a seller, the invoice you will be sending an offline invoice to your buyer. Apart from that, simultaneously what happens, all the record goes into an ASP portal, which is corner 2 and corner 3. Your invoice detail stays here. Now, whenever a tax authority wants, they'll take the invoice and they'll collect and store. So the ASP, all ASP, say for example, a seller and buyer are using Tally. So for both of them, the ASP remains same. So once you select in a MRR tax portal, you have to use the same software at the same time. When the law comes in by January 27 or July 27, once you start issuing, and by October also, if you are into B2G. Now your invoice stays in the ASP portal, Secure Invoice Exchange. Now it goes to tax authority. The moment buyer clicks and buyer gets an invoice, he will put the reference number. So as on today, we have invoice number which is given by a seller. There'll be unique number, e-invoicing number, which will be coming in. A QR code would be coming in. So on the product, that's still developing. But see, as of now, it's a QR code or a alphanumeric code, which would be a unique invoicing number, which is standard throughout the network. Buyer will get that code the moment he press put all the detail. Yeah, say buyer has, say for example, seller has given a invoice of 10,000 dirhams plus VAT, and seller is posting 10,000 dirhams including VAT. Once he press enter, it will go to an ASP portal. It will check was the invoice with this invoice number, all the detail correct. If the details are not correct, it will throw an error. That's the job of ASP for both the side. If the details of the buyers are not right, it will ask you to put all the details. Likewise, if the buyer is putting anything wrong, it will just cross verify and update to tax authority. If the errors are there, it will update to tax authority. So once you receive an invoice from your supplier or from your seller, if a seller gives you an invoice, you have to add it properly. Now, what is this open PayPal five corner model? It's say let's understand what exactly it is. Now, five corner model is if you have say let's make it very simple. You might be aware about a LAN network, RDB connection, or your cloud access, or say for what we try to do is, as on today, anything. Say for example, if a company wants all the data to be stored in the same server, and only the people who are in that office, they should have an access to that data. Similar thing, UAE is bringing in as with the help of Open PayPal Corner. Any invoices flows in UAE, all the details are stored in a five corner PayPal model. As on today, if you see, you receive hundreds invoice, you issue 100 different invoice. For every invoice, you have a different voucher type, different invoice number. So now, henceforth, it will become, you will, however you're working, it will work as it is. But the moment you issue an e-invoice, it will have a unique numbering, unique code, which would be updated to tax authorities simultaneously for B2B and B2G transaction. As on today, that's the law says. Now, so coming to the understanding what happens, any invoice you issue currently, if once you submit the VAT return, If there is any audit, they ask you all the TRN number, what all sales you have done. Henceforth, any invoice you issue, it goes directly to the authority, or authority has. Yeah, authority has an access to uh, see the invoice, what invoice you are getting. Like authority has an access that what's the amount of invoice, and they can collect and store from the ASP model. So now ASP will act as a bridge between the seller and the buyer. Now, adding one more thing here, the only invoices which you will be issuing in the e-invoice, only the value of those invoice will go. So on your tally screen, there'll be an option. Do you want to enable, or you can create a voucher type, e-invoicing voucher type? The moment you say yes, only those invoices would be going to authority. If you're doing cash invoice, but the law says all B2B and B2G transaction receiving or issuing from the system readiness and ASP selection, it would be done. So I hope I have made it clear on the five corner model of PayPal. Let me check. There are some questions here. Okay. So if a buyer and seller use a different software, so Agam has a question. So ASP, all the ASP would be syncing in the same network. Say for example, if a buyer and a seller are in the are using a different software, so all ASP will have the similar what we say. They'll validate the invoice, and so see, I'll just show. It's a secure ASP model. So all the invoices, there are millions of invoice coming in a ASP portal, and from that it would be uploaded to the tax authority. So if a buyer is using Tally and if a buyer is using Tally and seller is using some other software, it's still possible, because the all the ASP would act, and they upload the unique only the details what they want. So there'll be an amount, the amount, TRN number, and buyer details. So I hope that answers your question. There was one more question. If we are selling outside UAE, how it would be applied? If you are a registered business in UAE, if you're doing a B2B transaction, and if you're selling outside the UAE, what will happen is you will have a transaction. I'll come to that. So you'll say export transaction. So that doesn't apply to the e-invoicing, but it gets applied to your corporate tax or your other laws. But see, once you do a VAT return and other thing, you have to say RCM or export VAT paid at the customs. So the other things, however, that's working, it will work as it is. Now, so let's talk about UAE e-invoicing update and tally readiness. So, please don't go get carried away with this, that yeah, when tally will come, what is happening on the e-invoicing. It's very simple. The ASP selection is by July 2026. System readiness is by 2027. The assurance and assurity on the, and for the SMEs, if you are less than 50 million, 31st of March and 1st July 2027. Now tally readiness, PayPal certification, 90% of the work is done. ASP application, we have all the submission from tally has been done, we are waiting for approval. So, and in the when it comes to product, collaborating with UAE FTA for the product development, which I spoke. So that gives that you can keep it, and we keep it with you. The update is coming in, the progress is going on. As on today, there's no software which is ready with the with the ASP solution, or there's no software. They're all third party where they do a connect. So you might be getting a call from a third party where they're not a software, they are just doing a connect, where these nine companies are from UK and EU, where most of the transaction is from the open PayPal. So these are they give a connected service to uh, as an ASP. So this ASP, what is showing on a tax authority, is a third party. They're not connected to any software. Softwares who are there in UAE, all are under process, and we are right ahead on the time. Where PayPal certification, because we are serving 100 plus countries, so we have got the PayPal certification, plus ASP is in progress and product is getting ready. So the timeline is quarter two, what we are expecting, quarter one, by quarter two, we are expecting, in this quarter, we are expecting to have an ASP, and in quarter two or quarter three, we would be having a system readiness. So that's all. And how to prepare. So as on today, now what I'll do is I'll be switching my screen a little bit, and I'll be showing you how to get prepared for invoicing as on today. So I have my tally also here. Let me just give me a minute. Now, yeah, I'll just. Now let's talk about a couple of things. There are five points which is very important before we dive into, before the product comes in. So don't worry, you guys are in a right hand. Tally as a product has a legacy of 40 years. We've been serving back in India. We have given a solution in Saudi. In most of the country, we have a right solution which is ready. And I've given you a surety that what are our timelines, and what are we working on now. How to prepare? So verify your company information. Ensure your company name, address, TRN number are accurate in Tally, and it's exactly as per the FTA, exactly as per it is registered with FTA based on your TRN number or a trade license. How to do that? If you're using Tally, just go to your Tally, say you go to alter, and in the alter you put all the details. Say for example, in your TRN certificate, it's uh, Gamban Grow Trading L.L.C. It should be like that. If you are in UAE, you have to say it UAE. Now, once this is done, just 2 minutes. Yeah. So put all the details in your tally, which is exactly as per uh, the trade license. Then what you can do is you can go to company. There is a button called feature. Here you go. If you are applicable for VAT, just go to VAT, and here, if you are a designated zone, put the TRN number. The moment you put the TRN number, it will automatically fetch the account ID, which is last 10 digit. I'm just putting a random. Then what is your registration date? Is it a monthly, quarterly? Once that is done, uh, is if you are a designated zone company, mention here in F11 VAT, and you can do that. So this is a first check before you start. So if you have not done it, save your company, take a backup, and do this changes as on today, because very soon the law is going to come. We have to do the correction as on today. Now going back, validate your customer and supplier records. So let me open a company which has a little bit more data. Okay, just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. I'll just open multiple companies so that I can show it to you. So now, say for example, what happens? Say, as on today, your customers are changing their TRN number. So the second point is validate your customer and supplier record. What you can do is, if your customer has changed the TRN number, or there is a change in the TRN number, what you can do is you can create a different ledger with the new TRN number, that is one, or you can update your party TRN number. Now, a lot of people will have a question. I have got around 100 suppliers and 200 plus ledgers I have been serving. How do I correct it? So this reconciliation and revalidation will go on forever. It will go on for everyone, not forever, for everyone. Because what happens, a company, if a company is getting merged into group company, splitting from group to single company, the TRN number change. If you are demerging from, say for example, you have a quarterly VAT period, you went applied for 6 month or annually, your TRN number still change. So there is a lot of change. What you can do is you can create a new ledger, and you can take help of Tally Global unused ledger. You can just disable that. That's one thing. How you can do it in a bulk. So you just go to Tally, just go to this report. So once your company is loaded, go to display, you go to VAT 2.0, and there is something called as update party TRN number. The moment you click, you see all the ledgers. Here it is not added, you can just get the correct TRN number, you can add it manually. Then you'll say, no, this is a big hustle for you in terms of doing one by one. You can have it, if you have it in Excel, XML, you can just go to uh, export from there and update the party TRM in Excel or something and import. You can click a button and you can update the all party TRN number with the click of button. Here also, if you need any help, there are how to do videos. You can just go to a Tally help button. If you go to Tally help, it will take you exactly on the screen where you need a help how to import data into Tally. Once you do that, you can just type and do it, or there is an AI link support here, TARA, where it can help you step by step videos, and we are always there. Tally Global is there. We are there to help you out in terms of doing an import in a right fashion. So that's one thing. Now, review and classify zero rated and export transaction. So how it works. So for example, uh, so there are some questions. So let me take those questions and then we'll come to this. So, so there is a question from Kalasha. Once invoice issued from the seller or service provider. Oh my God. Just give me a minute. Mhm. So what happens once the once invoice is issued from the seller, service provider will automatically reflect in FTA. So the answer is, what will happen? Kailasha, what will happen? Say for example, the moment invoice is issued, you will have a report in Tally. What all invoices has been generated as a part of e-invoicing, what all invoices has been uploaded or fetched that report as per FTA, all invoice it goes, the FTA has an access to it, they can fetch the detail. Plus the question what you ask is, if the invoice is issued, the invoice stays in ASP model, and it gets no, FTA also gets a notification that this invoice has been generated. Whenever they want, they can fetch the detail from an ASP detail and they can review it. So I hope that answer your question. Now, uh, so then there's a question: how to issue and cash invoices. There was So if you're issuing a cash invoice to a B2B, so see now there's a law or there's an update which came from. So Sintu has a quite very nice question recently, how to issue a cash invoice for B2B. So if it is a cash invoice, you're giving it to B2B, it goes to an e-invoicing. That's one. If you see a latest law which was updated by a UAE Finance Authority, they said that 90% of the business transaction of UAE by end of 2026, it would be cashless. 90% of business transaction would become a cashless. So if there is a cash invoice of that much purchase, you will need to check. So now Vishal has a question. If a client does only third party port shipment, buys from China, sells it to Africa, still they would be required. It's not so see, if you are into that much of business, if you have a business of 50 million, you have to register, you have to select an ASP, you have to be an you have to select an ESP. Your system should be ready. But if your invoices are going out third party port, you don't need to issue an invoice. There will be a option yes or no, and the moment you put the common ledger. So I was coming to the export and all those things. The moment you put those ledger, it automatically it will not be a part of invoicing. So okay. So we are a bookkeeping company, write books of account. There's a we are a bookkeeping company and writes a books and of account of tax. Is it possible? So what Tally is bringing in, we are not bring. We are working on a product. So very soon we will come to this and we'll give an update. So yeah, coming back to the review and classify zero rated and export transaction. As on today, if you use Tally, the moment you do an export or import transaction, it's a so the moment you are doing a sales and say, for example, you are doing sales to a company. Now here you have to create say sales B2B. So the readiness, system readiness, review and classify zero rated and export transaction. So what you have to do is you make a different sales ledger B2B and under sales account and save it. It's a goods saved. If it is domestic supplies, you just make it a domestic supplies from date and saved it. So just 2 minutes. I did a mistake there. So here domestic taxable supply from that date and save it. Now, say for example, you do a B2G transaction, B2G sales. So you will say domestic taxable and saved it. Now, someone had a question, they do an export. So export sales, and you just have to write it's a export. Now zero rated. Now say for example you have a different transaction, you can classify. So as on today there is a correction, like the moment you start using a software, as you're using Tally, you have to do this classification in your invoices. You have to add this detail. You have to you It's a right practice. If you are doing a zero rated, that's how you can classify in your sales. You can make multiple sales and then you also get a record over and above. Say when we talk about export and import transaction, you can use. But say for example, just in case if you're using a common sales account and you have a customer who is in Dubai, but you are doing a sales to the to other country. Say you are doing it in a different, say you are doing it in Bangladesh, which becomes an export transaction. Tally is that smart. Say if you put it here VAT, it will not calculate. Once you go to tax analysis, it says export. Why export? The company is here, but the transaction you have said that it's happening in Bangladesh. So it becomes an export transaction. It will not calculate VAT. The moment invoicing comes in, there'll be a yes button here. You can just say issue an invoicing, or you can change it in the voucher type. So that's one. Now, what happens is understand the role of ASP. So for all the Tally customer, Tally will act as an ASP. They are intermediary between the seller and buyer and FTA. So when I was explaining the 4-5 corner model, seller gives an invoice, they gives a copy offline, but the invoice gets uploaded to the ASP portal. Buyer is using another software, he gets all the detail accordingly, and at the same time, tax authority can collect and store the detail. Now, currently in the phase one, 31st of July and 1st January. So system readiness for the phase two by July 2027. All the business would come uh, by July 27 and by October. So this is still a point of discussion and we are still talking to the authority and the law is still on the corner four. There's still a lot of law which is developing. Say for example, a business who has just started, not they've registered within 90 days, they have to register for corporate tax, TRN number they get after the threshold is done. But what happens? Uh, if they get first invoice from government in October 2027, which is an invoice, as of now, law says receptor also has to have a e-invoice. It's a requirement for both of them. So now the software adaptability will increase. The recent law which says government 90% of the business transaction in UAE by, so that's a law. If you want Anirudh, then they would be giving you a detail. It's a law which has come. 90% of the businesses would be falling, doing a cashless transaction by end of 2026. That came from Prince of UAE, which will boost the economy by n number of billion AEDs or million AEDs. So the law is changing. There's a lot of things which are developing, and so what happens? Understanding a role of ASP, Tally as a ASP will not upload everything. Your data stays with you. Tally as a company, it's a on-premise software where you can use it on cloud, and the users are a lot. The only details would be uploaded what it is required for that. Only that B2B and B2G, there'll be an option upload e-invoicing. The moment you say yes, only those value goes uploaded. The data is if you are if the questions are coming, will my data go, only those invoices which you will be saying e-invoicing, it would be done, because that happens in Saudi also. So the fifth point is adapt corrective practice early. So now it's very important from today, cause avoid altering of invoice after they are saved. Instead, use a credit note, debit note, or any correction, or because this align with an FTA future compliance for e-invoicing. So say for example, you are altering the invoice, you're deleting the invoice, that should stop. Plus what you have to use is used order processing, delivery note, sales order, purchase order, all those things you have to use. So corrective practice, first thing is, if you're using Tally, if you have not enabled this feature, you go to company alteration. If you press F12, so this button, so if you have not enabled, if your company is not enabled with user control access, if it is not there, if this screen you are not seeing it, immediately from today, take a backup and enable a security control in your Tally. So say you have a security control, you have an admin user, and the moment you say uh, audit feature. So what happens with this Tally? All the it will you will know who has altered, who has deleted the record. So this is very important. Once you do that, once you enable this, saved it in the company button, go to user roles. You can make multiple users. Say in this company, you go to users and password, create multiple users. Say you have a data entry guy, owner, give an access, restrict the access of deleting, post dated, because this is very important. Because the practice, if you one, because if you see in this part of the world, one small mistake, you end up paying a very heavy fine. So adopt a right practice, start using user control access. Over and above, say for example, you go to vouchers in the sales. Say at sales here, you go to other vouchers, say delivery note, press enter and you can enable delivery note. You go to out order voucher, other voucher, say sales order, and enable a sales order. So now you can, once you are at sales, this gives you a sales with this arrow. You have enabled a delivery note, and you can link your sales order, delivery note, and the sales invoice would be linked. Still, if there is a customer who is, if you feel there is a correction or anything might happen, so you can use a performa invoice. Just on the invoice, just press optional, and while printing it, it says performa invoice, which is a document which gives a performa, which is not a tax invoice as of now. uh, the later you post it on the system, so start using a right thing, user control access, use delivery note, order processing. All these things are available in the same product. Now keep your Tally updated. This is a very important. I've seen so if you see my current Tally, So update. I work with Tally. I've been working in Tally from like around 10 years now. The e-invoicing will come on Tally Prime 7.0 and above. Say if you're using Tally Prime 1 or ERP 9, we are so sorry, it will not be coming on that. E-invoicing would be on the latest release only. On the latest product, say on the latest release, you will be getting e-invoicing. Say for example, you are using Tally Prime 1.0, the e-invoicing update will come on 7 or above. Say if you are using older one, so it's very important today you speak to partner, renew your TSS, come to the latest release and get it done. So currently we have a very exciting updates which is going on. If you are a single user customer, if you want to update to multi-user, there is 33% discount on that. If you are a ERP 9, if you are currently, if you are using Tally Prime, and if your TSS is not valid, we are renewing TSS and the migration of data is free. So you can get in touch with Tally Global on that as well. Train your staff, because as I can see everyone has come here to learn today. It's very important we inherit the same knowledge to our team. They know well ahead before the update comes in. So everyone knows about it before the update comes in. It is very important for your staff to get trained. Ensure they do a right practice. Take this screenshot with you and train your staff and get things done on a right time. Now this is a certificate what we get it from PayPal. If you go to the open PayPal website also, it will also show there. So so if you go to PayPal. So here there are it's all mostly European third parties are there. But if you write here Tally, it gives you Tally name here. So we are a open PayPal certified software, and which is 90% work done for the ASP. Now, there are, as we will limit to the time only, as we had a lot of questions around the five corner model, we had a lot of updates on the invoicing system readiness. We'll take the question one by one, and we are right on the time. We'll take another 5 minutes on Q&A, and we will be done for the session. So now let's take the question. So we are a bookkeeping company, writes books for 10 plus companies. See, Tally as a software, it's a serial based software. Now, the product enhancement is going on based on the product, and it's what solution would be bringing cause or reach out. As I started, when I stated that we have around 2.7 million customers, and the users are 10 times, companies are 15 times. So it's based on the serial number. So the solution will get right, Mr. Vasputa Shaha. Mr. Anirudh will get in touch. Agam, what would be the cost of structure of e-invoicing? The cost structure is still we are yet to decide, because as it comes from a parent company, Tally would be giving a solution. The prices won't be that much, but yeah, you need to be on a latest release, and it can be done. Can we edit and delete issuing e-invoice in a FTA portal? There is not editing or deleting. It's a canceling or credit note, debit note, and it will have a lot of reference number based on that invoice number, and you can take it up. In a bill to ship model from India to Dubai and Ajman. So Agam, I just wanted to, if you can elaborate in bill, are you talking about consignment sale or it's in bill to ship model? If it is out of scope, and if it is, see, if the product it is coming Dubai to Ajman, that's a UAE transaction. Again, B2B transaction, invoicing would be coming in. The law is still now the audit period, once it is done now, The law, they are we expecting more law to be coming in on the e-invoicing. So you will get an update. Is there any option to issue a performer invoice? Mr. Ajay, I showed you how you can. So in the sales invoice screen, in Tally, you can click optional and it becomes a performer invoice. Going back to the question, how can we make cash invoice if customer don't have TRN number? It's a cash invoice, but again, Devendra out. So how can we make a cash invoice if customer don't have a TRN number? So you can make a cash invoice and write a company name and issue it. How to do it? It's very simple. And you go to Tally, you just say here cash, and in this you can write your customer name is say or say ABC customer, no TRN number. Say new company. I'm just writing for our reference. Dubai regular unregistered, and it goes to, so the customer will get an invoice with the VAT, but it's a cash invoice. It's not falling into B2B. The law is still yet to come. I can't comment, but if it is, so e-invoicing, I think it's mostly it's coming for everyone. If it is, there is no TRN number, if they have to register, because they are issuing an invoice, receiving an e-invoice, will be coming back to you on this as well. But cash invoice with no TRN number, but the company is registered, right? If the company is registered with some details, they can it should come. So there is a question: do the buyer need to accept invoice? What we can issue? What if they are not prepared or have a system readiness? So if a buyer needs to accept buyer, if you talk about buyer and seller, everything is on the seller side as of now. The first thing it has started developing on the seller side. Seller is, if it is into 50 million, seller issues it, buyer has to accept or receive the invoicing. This and it goes to an ASP. So authority will have an access that this many invoices are still open. It has not been accepted by a buyer, and VAT claim has been done. If you see, the entire thing comes into one circle. So with that, if the acceptance, it would mostly it will happen in the phase two, where all 50 million and the government entity starts issuing the invoice. What about e-commerce transaction in invoicing issue directly to the customer? In this category, it's B2C, so it doesn't come here. But if there's anything, if the law comes in, we'll keep updating you. If if we are doing export but door-to-door delivery, do we have any export document? Ma'am, for this, Priya, you have to ask someone who is into bookkeeping, because door-to-door, if you are into B2C, the law says no. But if you have any export document, can we consider this? You have to speak to somebody. Criteria for annual revenue 50 million. Uh, so here the criteria, somebody is asking about the criteria. Say if you are into business, if you are into 50 million, 31st of July 2026 is the ASP selection. 1st Jan, your invoice from 1st Jan, uh, morning 1 12 1201, you have to issue any invoice with a e-invoice. You can't be issuing any invoice which is B2B and B2G without the invoice. If you are into the second phase, less than 50 million, 31st of March, you have to select an ASP system readiness by July. If you are into government, these are the law. Now,
कौन सी ईयर का टर्नओवर कंसीडर करना
okay. Turnover, because based on a corporate tax, you have I'm not expert on this. So the question is criteria of annual revenue 50 million in which year? So if you have last, so I think it should come based on a corporate tax by September. There'll be one more corporate tax registration. It will have a revenue given. So if you have So every September to September, you have to submit your CT if you don't have a TRN number also. So I think it would be based on a corporate tax submission, but still, GSM, we need to check. What if seller has chosen ASP but buyer has not? Uh, it's buy it's okay because buy the for the first, if you see in the first phase seller has to choose the ASP, buyer it will come later. So as of now, all those invoice would be an ASP portal, and it will get uploaded to tax authority. We have a question. What about sales return about 3 4 months? Can it be edited? Ma'am, a very good question, but sales return, credit note, debit note, which will have a same thing. The If you're issuing a electronic credit note, it will be linked to your that e-invoicing, and based on that, it will have a record there. Jay, should we classify each sales under different sales voucher B2B? That's where see, if you're doing a B2B, because it's very important for you to know which is B2B. If you wanted to know what happens is, we have seen in Saudi and other region, what they do is they create a new voucher type for invoicing. All the invoicing they do it. But if you're doing B2B and B2G, it should be, this is a right practice for classifying. But it's up to you. It's not up to the regulation for the ease of the business. If cash invoice from a non-business customer, then the no question of e-invoicing. If it is a cash invoice from non-business customer, if it is a cash invoice from a non-business customer, B2C. B2C, if you are getting an invoice, yeah, but again, if you these days indirectly authority has developed a law in that way. With the corporate tax, we are adding all the expenses in the business. Now, if you are receiving cash and if there are no details on that, so I think cash, it will slowly, gradually, it would be coming less. Anirudh, you want to add something?
If the cash invoice from non-business, can we clear like we are purchasing or we are selling? Purchasing.
क्या है परचेज हो रहा है सो Kalash, you, if you can just elaborate, I can just take that question again. Joseph Anil has a question. Hi, how can I track the PI or optional invoice in Tally Prime? There's a report in Tally. If you go to this exception report,
Good.
you can just press go to and say optional, optional voucher. It will give you everything. It will have all the optional voucher, performer and sales order, everything it would be here. Now coming back to the question, we are overshooting the time. Uh, how can we, okay, if a supplier is on on PayPal, new company with less than 50, so yeah, I hope I answer this question. How it works for e-commerce on Noon? So e-commerce and Noon, sellers are mediator. We say, for example, I'm selling on Noon, so I'm selling it to Amazon. Amazon is selling it to the customer. It became B2B. So transaction between you and Amazon and Noon become a B2B transaction, and they take care of B2C. We are not billing it to customer, but if you're billing it to customer, so it's still, see, e-commerce, there's and boom in e-commerce, but it will the update is yet to come. Dimple, for B2B, needs to issue an invoicing. B2C, handmade invoices. Ma'am, the adoption. So I'll just give a very important note here. So Dimple has asked a very good question. B2B invoice issued, B2B e-invoice, and B2C should be handwritten invoice. As on today, the FTA has given a very clear statement that if your invoice value, if it is more than 5,000 dirhams, they insist to use a software. So for example, insist is they tell you please use a software, but they insist if it is more than 5,000. But and if it can be sales or purchase, you have to, they insist to use a software. But if your invoice value goes above 10,000, say if it is a purchase or sales, they recommend. So now the word has changed. They recommend FTA accredited software. So it's highly recommended. The very soon the handwritten invoice and everything will go off. It's very important you start using it from today. It can be done from Tally as well. So B2C, it can be handwritten, then you have to post it in a software to get a record in terms of getting your balance sheet and everything. From tax authority, how the buyer ASP, from tax authority, how will buyer ASP receive a e-invoicing? It's in from the ASP model. A buyer, once he post, it will have a unique e-invoicing number. It will become a clap. So as on today, if we do any business transaction, we have a TRN number, company number. There will be an up next unique number would be an invoice number. What if the invoice raised within a related party transaction X trainee refer fee and about a company of the same partner? I think this question you have to speak to bookkeep accounting or audit company. They'll be able to answer it. Uh,
Yes.
we are selling and receiving cash into B2B. Uh,
We
we
are
are
selling
selling.
question का replay.
Acha,
We are
we are
selling
selling
and
and
receiving cash as a B2C sales हुआ. So there will be no invoicing as of now.
yeah, as of now, nahi hai, but yeah, in the second phase it might come. So I think there are last five, two, three questions. So far as an export is concerned, there is specific that we need to worry about. The worry is, see, now update is select an ESP if you are falling into that club, 50 million plus. If you're not in 50 million, less than 50 million by March. Uh, ensure your VAT returns are on time. Ensure your all the details are right when you issue any invoice. If you're doing any VAT paid at customs and all, everywhere your details are correct. Your that is the only thing you have to take care and use a software and compliant to the free zone where you work, where you are exporting or importing. If a customer is not having a TRN number has required, so similar, so adding up to the question, a lot of if you don't have a TRN number for your business, but still within 90 days or 60 days, I am not sure about that timeline, you have to uh, update for a corporate tax. So if you're not having TRN number, still less than 50 million, it comes an ASP. We need to upload only B2B invoice, right? B2B purchase, any B2B transaction, sales, purchase, B2G, you have to receive. And if you are into 50 million, receive and accepting into with the e-invoice. And in second phase for everything, it will come. My question is, once the seller issues invoice through ASP, how will the particular invoice reflect in a buyer so that he can claim it? It will not. It will once the corner four what I was talking, the law comes in. It will say it's not a connected like in India where you this many invoice is yet to claim and the update and everything that might come in a second phase of law, but as of now all the invoice would be lying in ASP model. The moment you and the moment a seller gives you an invoice, it goes to tax authority. The moment tax authority knows that invoice has been done and a receiver, because when the invoice is given, there's a company name and other detail. Still, see, ASP selection would be from your MRR tax portal and other things. So still, see, if you see, there is a lot of law is still yet to come. The add-on question somebody will have, if we have not registered with FTA, we don't have access to MRR tax portal. How do we select an ASP? So the corner four is still yet to develop, and the law is yet to come. Now, when we will be fined? FTA has issued long item can be fined. What about that? So so see, I can't answer those questions, Jay. That what are the outsourcing corporate tax and VAT return only books is done. We would be needing an expert staff so that implement. So see, software as Tally is a plug and play software. It's been backed by a very big research team where it gives a right report, but only if the data is correct. But e-invoicing, as on today, I've seen a lot of people who doesn't have an domain expertise, still they are able to do it. So the solution would be simple. So you don't have to worry. Just get trained, know, get updated, and know more about that. If seller by mistake selects out a TRN number and received an invoice, do we exception and rejection, that is still yet to come? Because yeah, if a seller gives an invoice to a wrong TRN number and the buyer is not aware that he has got an invoice, that would be all. So if the rejection and everything, yeah, it's a very Ronnie has a right question. If that comes in, you so see the law of corner 4 is still yet to come. So here the law is coming by 2027. So that's a update on that. Okay. So what if client having a turnover less than VAT eligibility and not having a TRN number? Okay, so if there is no TRN number, still we are yet to get an update. How will a buyer get notification of e-invoicing? It's a normal, see, if buyer will anyways get an invoice offline. So currently buyer and seller are talking to each other with emails, calls, WhatsApp, and all the legal ways. Uh, but now the buyer and seller are linked with the tax authority via ESP. Buyer buyers if a buyer is using Tally or any software, the only let's talk about Tally. If buyer is using Tally, only the invoice he says this is an e-invoice B2B transaction, only that goes to tax authority. The receiver, if he receives an invoice and if he says it's an e-invoice, only that comes into the picture. So that's all from my side. I hope if any export invoice do we have if any export just 2 minutes. If any export invoice do we need to select an ASP? ASP selection is based on revenue. If your company is in UAE, if you're falling into that bracket 50 million less than 50 million, the ASP selection becomes mandate and the invoice goes to ASP model. So you have to select ASP if you are falling into that business revenue less than 50 million or more than. There's no third thing 1 million, 2 million, 50 million and above and less than 50 million. If you're less than 50 million, you have to select an ASP. The moment you issue a B2B or B2G invoice, you have to do it as per the law. So that's all from my side. I hope I you guys had learned today on the e-invoicing. Just 2 minutes.